And welcome to another edition of Spits and Suds as we get you ready for Game 4, Dallas-Winnipeg. And joining us from Winnipeg, specifically Winnipeg Sports Talk, it's the greatness of Michael Remis, where Texas weather has made its way north to Winnipeg today. Is that correct, Michael?
Yes, thank you for the amazing intro, Gavin. I appreciate that. And I'm just trying to get my conversion here, but it says high of 35 Celsius today. I think that's in the 90s,
Yeah,
isn't
it's
that?
in the 90s. Yeah, like 90, something like 96 to 98, something like that.
Yeah, Google tells me 95 as a high
There you
today.
go.
So very hot, perfect weather for playoff hockey.
Yeah, absolutely. And the news coming out of Dallas as we do this podcast, Miro Heiskanen expected to play tonight. Obviously, we'll have to see when warm-ups happen, but the expectation is Miro Heiskanen will be in the lineup. Your first thoughts, my friend?
I think that's a big boost for Dallas. They've been missing a puck mover like him, number one defenseman. You wonder if he's going to be at 100% up to playoff speed. It's taken Jason Robertson some time to get to that. And on the Jet side, Nikolai Ehlers and Gabriel Velarde coming back from injury as well. So it's hard to jump into a playoffs and hit full speed right away, but that's a huge boost for Dallas, I would think, as they look to make this series 3-1 and take it back to Winnipeg with a chance to clinch in Game 5.
Yeah, also Pete DeBoer just now on the possibility of going with 7 defensemen so that Miro Heiskanen doesn't have to eat up a ton of minutes like he usually does. He says, quote, "No big deal. It gives Mikko Rantanen some more ice time, so that's an easy one." So, interesting, another development. Stars might go with 7 defensemen and 11 forwards.
Yeah, you do wonder if that means they're not totally confident with him able to come back. He's been off for a while. Again, coming into playoff intensity, it's tough. So I think a lot of eyes going to be on Miro Heiskanen tonight, see how he performs in his first game of the 2025 playoffs.
So can you explain, because during the regular season this was not a factor, regarding Winnipeg not winning on the road since 2023 in the playoffs?
I was of the opinion before that, this was just bad luck. This is, it's not a trend to be concerned about, but I think going back to the Vegas series, certainly have to be concerned. The way they've played on the road, totally different than what it's been in the playoffs in the regular season. In the regular season, it was a non-factor. It was never discussed. They had the most, one of the top teams in the league on the road. But here it seems like, whether it's getting off to a bad start and getting scored on right away, which has been a factor a couple times, it just seems like there'll be a goal against at a point in the game. And, for a couple minutes, the Jets will, I don't want to say forget how to play, but lose their structure, get multiple goals scored on them, and the whole thing will spiral. And you've just heard Scott Arniel say over and over in post-game press conferences this playoffs that this isn't something that usually happened to us in the regular season. So I don't know what it is about the road, but we saw it in Dallas. The goal, after lengthy review, counted, and then they got scored on 45 seconds later. And in St. Louis, there'd be a 3-minute stretch where they'd allow 3 goals, and the game was over. I think they played 2 solid periods in Game 3 on Sunday, but that's not enough against a very good Dallas team. They're going to have to find their game on the road for a full 60 minutes. But going back, why is this a thing for so many years? I don't know. It's certainly tough to explain here.
Are you and others expect any lineup changes tonight? Because Winnipeg took some physical defensemen out of their lineup. Could you see reinsertion of that?
I do wonder. That would be the only change I would consider. They've gone with Logan Stanley and Luke Schenn as the third D pair, and in Winnipeg they moved. This series they moved it to Hayden Fleury, who was excellent in Game 7 against St. Louis. You saw his skating and puck moving, and Colin Miller's got a great shot and more mobile. There wasn't really a lot of hitting in the first 2 games compared to what we saw in St. Louis, where They had the most hits of any series this playoffs. And I think in game 3, Dallas, ramped up the physical play. Bichelle, who's throwing his body around. I do wonder if they go to that, but this is the lineup that shut out Dallas in game 2. Maybe it's something they would rather do at home if they do make a change where they're able to dictate the matchups. We'll have to wait and see as they're about to step on the ice soon. I think they're going to go with the same lineup, the one that won in game 2, but if there were any changes, it would be on that third D pair, and we'll have to wait and see. Now, I know a lot of people are talking about goaltending. Connor Hellebuyck, he's their guy. They're going to stick with him going forward in this series.
You have to, right? I mean, you can't take a Vezina Trophy winner out of the lineup unless he gives up like 5 or 6. I mean, I know like bad goals happen. It is amazing to me the puck bounces that happen in the NHL playoffs that don't necessarily happen as common in the regular season.
I think everything is just so magnified, and maybe teams, especially St. Louis, they had a plan to get to the net and cause chaos, and it certainly worked, and that's what Colorado did last year against the Jets. But Connor Hellebuyck, he's been their guy. I know the numbers look absolutely, not great at all, and we'll have to see if he can get it done on the road. They're going to have to win one on the road if they have any shot to win this series. But he's the guy. He's signed long term. He's Vezina Trophy winner. Probably going to win it again. I'm not sure how you can explain his performance in the playoffs. I think some of it out of his control. I think you've seen some positional errors for sure, but when in game 7 he turned it up in the third period and overtime, he's their guy. So I know maybe some national media types will suggest to go to Eric Comrie, but the Winnipeg Jets, I don't believe that they're thinking that at all.
Well, one of the things that I'm starting to think, because this is a second straight year, whoever makes it out of the Central. You had Winnipeg that went through the gauntlet of St. Louis. Dallas went through Colorado. Both were just grueling 7-game series. And then you look at Minnesota that, tested Vegas at times, but now you have Vegas and Edmonton. If Vegas and Edmonton end up going to the Cup, it just makes me want to go back to that traditional 1 through 8. Just play it where they fall. As far as the top 2 division winners, I'm fine with the 1-2, but then everyone after that based on record, because I just feel as though the Central Division is at a disadvantage when they play in the conference finals.
I couldn't agree more, Gavin. I think this playoff format is completely ridiculous. Dallas and Colorado, like second and third, best teams in the West, and they have to play in a first round. That's not a first round playoff series. There should be some benefits to winning the regular season, and it's the Central Division. I mean, both those series, the Dallas Colorado 7-game, Winnipeg St. Louis 7-game. You saw in game 1, both teams I thought looked slow, looked tired, and that's what 7-game series does to you. And the Central Division is so strong, and I think you should be more of a reward for the regular season. So we've been saying it on our show for years. This playoff format is silly, but they seem to enjoy it. They like the fixed bracket. I don't agree that it creates rivalries. I think playing any team in the playoffs would create a rivalry if they're in your division or not. So I'd like to see them go back to the traditional 1 versus 8. I'm not so sure that'll happen, but we'll have to wait and see when they do this new CBA.
So I'm interested to see how Winnipeg comes out in this game, because I thought they went back to basically what got them the President's Trophy in game 2, in that heavy forecheck, keeping the Stars in the defensive end so much that the Stars just wanted to get it out, made them tired. The Stars looked tired in game 2. And then we go to game 3, and it just felt as though it was the Stars that had the fresh legs, and they exhibited their speed with the physicality. So it is fascinating, because in the last 2 games, we've kind of seen, I don't want to say lopsided affairs, because the game was tied 2-2 at one point, but it is interesting when you look at these series, and you probably just can't see it in the regular season as much because, they play 4 games, but, 1, and then a month later they play again, is that who will establish their style of play.
Yeah, the playoffs is so funny because you have a 7-game series, And in the case of the Jets one against St. Louis, a lot of the games weren't close, especially the ones that St. Louis. They ran away with those, and the ones in Winnipeg, some of them were certainly a bit closer. So for the Jets, I mean, we've talked all playoffs. Important to get off to a good start. You take 2 penalties in the first 2 minutes of the game, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage, and Dallas gets one on the power play. I don't know how they find a way to get to their game early, but you saw it in game one. Dallas outshooting Winnipeg 9-0 in the first 8 minutes or so before Winnipeg was able to, find their game a bit and even the score by the end of that first period. So that's going to be key. And yeah, you mentioned Dallas brought the physical play. They took their game to Winnipeg, and Winnipeg was able to establish their game in game two with the relentless pressure. So whether it's in Winnipeg or Dallas, they're going to have to find a way to get back to that. But I think for me, the Jets have had so many opportunities in this series on the power play. And you thought with Josh Morrissey back, and now they have Ehlers and Velarde. This is power play unit was number one in the NHL this year. They have one power play goal in this series. That is not going to get it done. And if they want to have success, they're going to have to score with the man advantage, especially if they keep giving up what they've been giving up on the road too. They're in a tough spot here. I don't know if it's must win, but you'd like to be back in Winnipeg if you're the Jets 2-2. And for Dallas, they got to keep what they were doing last game. They'll have Heiskanen back, and they're looking to take it 3-1 back here on Thursday. So this is a pretty pivotal game in the series.
You mentioned the power play. Would that be the key to tonight? If there's one or two things that you can fill in this sentence, if Winnipeg does fill in the blank, they will win game 4 tonight.
Yeah, they need power play goals. I agree. Well, first they'd have to stick to their defensive structure for a full 60 minutes and not find a way to fall apart. You're led Miro Heiskanen Mikko Rantanen walk through the offensive zone and rip a shot on goal like on that fourth one yesterday. That's not a recipe for winning. So figure out a way to play your game for the entire time, because you've seen these collapses on the road this playoffs, and you're not going to win if that happens. And yeah, the power play, I think that's the biggest area for improvement. Again, they were the top in the regular season. You have all the guys back. No excuse. These guys should be scoring some goals, but full credit to the Dallas penalty kill, which has been very good all year. So a bit of a chess match there. They did score the power play goal in game 2, and Nikolai Ehlers said after the game, we looked at the tape. There was some things that we saw, and maybe they took a look back at their opportunities on Sunday, and I'll find something they can take advantage of here in game 4 tonight.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see the defensive pairings as well with Miro Heiskanen in. If he, gets paired with Thomas Harley, that's the expectation, and that's a pretty good blue line lining up, and it's going to take some of that stress off of Thomas Harley. A lot of stressful minutes carrying that puck over the last few months for Thomas Harley. So it's certainly going to be interesting. It's a fun series. I'm fascinated to see who establishes their game. Obviously, both teams love to play at home, so there's a really good back and forth. I was just fascinated because Winnipeg really established their game during the regular season, winning 3 out of 4, and they would have won the 4th one, but the Stars had a really nice third period. So you've kind of seen glimpses of that, and then you've seen the Stars dominate at times. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Michael Remis of Winnipeg Sports Talk, thank you so much, my friend. Best of luck. We do appreciate the Hellies backup. We do appreciate that. I thought our chants were pretty good back. So it's a nice little friendly thing we got going, right?
Hey, this is the first playoff series with Dallas. We had Colorado. Was that last year? We did St. Louis. We've had one with Minnesota in the past. So I do enjoy the friendly rivalry. I know in our YouTube channel, we've had Stars fans in our chat room. Blues fans are taking over our social media comments as well. It's something you don't get in the regular season, so I've had to be a bit on my toes here. But I do enjoy the fan interaction. The friendly rivalries, as you mentioned, the chants in arenas. The playoffs is way, way different than the regular season, and it's fun to still be here doing this, talking about games in round 2.
Well, yeah, it certainly is. I mean, and the toughest thing the Central Division faces is that It's not like New York where you have Rangers versus Jersey and then the Islanders. So you have those three teams, and then you have Philly, who's just a short train ride away. So you have geography, to me, plays a key role in rivalries. And the Central Division is really, really spread out. Probably the two closest teams would be Minnesota and Winnipeg, and thus that's the rivalry in the Central.
Yeah, Minnesota, I think, is probably Winnipeg's biggest rival, as you mentioned, proximity. And, we did a survey of Jets fans at the whiteout party saying, who do you think is Winnipeg's biggest rival? And everyone seemed to have a different answer. And I agree, geography, in division, playoff series plays into a factor. So I think Dallas has been pretty, close with Winnipeg in terms of games over the last couple of years. Always important for the standings, and this year especially, Winnipeg and Dallas neck and neck, fighting for the division all year. Now here meeting in the playoffs, it's fun, but yeah, it's not close. It's hard to get to Dallas from Winnipeg. No direct flights.
Wait a minute. It's hard to get to Winnipeg. We have a pretty big airport. We're pretty centrally located.
Okay, sorry. Other way around. Yeah,
sorry, I had to call you out on that. I think it's like the third or fourth largest airport in the United States.
Sorry, it's hard for us to get down that far on direct flights.
Okay, I understand. And thus the weather came up to you. That's a great way to end it, Michael. Thank you so much for joining us on Spits and Suds.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely.
It was great talking to you.
Yeah, absolutely. See, we can have fun. This is a fun rivalry. We can enjoy this series. Let's let the stress down just for a little bit as we get you amped up. Crowd will be into it. Hey, you know what? 7 o'clock Central start. What is that all about? You mean we can actually watch a game, do Spits and Suds, and get some good sleep tonight? Heck yeah, we can. So we'll be on right after the game, giving you all the little nuggets that we saw tonight. It happens right here on Spits and Suds on 105.3 The Fan. Enjoy the game, everyone.